Hello and happy Friday to everybody. So I wanted to share this recipe with you. I've already shared it earlier this week in the form of a really quick video, which is less than 1 minute. So it's one of those that like speeds you through. It's, you know, when you don't have much time and you're on your commute and you just want to go, oh yeah, that looks good, I'm going to make that. But I know that a lot of people then they have questions about, you know, can you substitute this with that, or how do you do that, or they just kind of want to see it in real time. So the recipe is my epic burgers, and the reason why I call them epic burgers is because so many vegan and gluten-free burgers are floppy, and you try and like push them around a pan and you try and flip them over and you try and put them on a barbecue and they kind of fall apart. And when you're a vegan and oh, hello Bridget and hello Karen, thank you for watching. Do you ask me questions as well as we go about this or anything else? Not about football. I don't know anything about that. It would be silly. Anyway, yeah. When you're at a barbecue, and usually, you know, hello. Thank you for saying hello to me. That's really cute. When you're at something like that, quite often you one of a few vegans there, or the only one there, and you want to show people how amazing vegan burgers can be. But when they're a floppy disappointment, you can't show them how amazing vegan burgers can be, apart from with this recipe. So, as some of you may know, I'm gluten-free. All of my recipes are gluten-free, and I try to make them as healthy as possible. So I did have a comment earlier today from somebody about my quick video that said that they didn't think that this recipe was healthy because I used oil and also I used vegan cheese. So I guess the points to make about that is for the oil you can use just like a tiny bit of oil. So we'll be frying onions and garlic and mushrooms. You can also water fry them as well. If you don't want to use any oil, you can do that, and then you could bake the burgers in the oven if you wanted to. When you fry them, you're going to need a little bit of oil, otherwise it's just going to stick, you know. You could try using a really good non-stick pan, that might work as well. And then the other thing with the vegan cheese slices that I use, you don't have to use them. And also I use Violife. So if you guys know Violife, it's a really good product, and actually it's about as healthy as that type of vegan cheese gets, which is pretty healthy. So I guess we've always got to think about how healthy is it compared to the alternative that these people that we're showing it may have. And what I want to show to people is that this is damn healthier than any kind of meat burger that's definitely out there, and definitely most processed vegan burgers that you find in the shop now. So let's get going. You guys shout out questions to me, or type questions to me as we go, and let's get going. So I'm using my Ghisanativa pan. So these are pans that I've just recently started using, and they're made from cast iron, and what that means is that iron actually goes into the food, so it's even healthier than it would be, which I think is pretty fantastic. The only thing is with them is that because it's cast iron, the handles get hot, so I have to use this just to protect my hands. But it's a nice big pan as well. I can only get 2 on there at one time, but that's fine, like for the amount of food that I'm cooking for myself. So I'm going to add a little bit of oil to this, and I'm just blowing on it because it is getting very hot very quickly, and that helps. So we've got our onions there. And one of the great things about using a cast iron pan like this is that it cooks things really quickly, and also really evenly as well. Open the windows because I have a really sensitive smoke alarm, which isn't great when you're a chef, right? So hopefully that will help. Okay, so if you do want to emit the oil, then as I said, like you can just take all of the oil out there and just water fry. If you want to reduce the amount of oil, that's in it. Just add a little bit to start it off with, and then add little splashes of water. So that's going really, really quickly, quicker than it would in just like, you know, a bog standard pan. So now I'm going to add, oh, so by the way, in there was 2 onions roughly chopped. Now in here is 250 grams of chestnut mushrooms, also roughly chopped. So we're not going to worry too much about finely chopping anything and taking our time with that. We don't need to, because we're going to blend all of this down. So just roughly chop these, 250 grams, and I use chestnut mushrooms, not white mushrooms. And the difference is these have so much more flavour. So let's pop that in there. And by the way, I warmed this up slowly just before we got going, which just helps like speed up the whole process as well. And in here I've got 4 cloves of garlic, roughly chopped. So you can dial that down if you... Just a second. Didn't I say? Right, okay. Hopefully that won't happen too often. If I like spam this, maybe it'll help. Maybe. Right, okay, so we've got 4 garlic in here, roughly chopped. You can add more if you want, you can omit it if you want, if you're not a garlic head. But in my experience, most vegans are garlic heads. So, pop that in there. And actually, this is a really, really good time to say that in the really quick video that I made of this recipe. Oh, what happened there? All of a sudden, the sun was actually in the room with me. That was crazy. Okay, right, the sun's gone now. Yeah, in the quick video, I actually used this pan. And the beautiful thing about this pan is that you get those lovely griddle lines on it. And it looks like it's been barbecued. It looks, you know, a lot kind of more Moorish and yummy, which is great. But it really does send the smoke alarm off quite a lot. So I'm not going to use that today. I'm just going to use my other one. But this is a great thing to use. And also, these pans are great just because they can make like grilled veggies look so tasty. And for all of you guys out there who love posting your food photos on Instagram, literally, like, get one of these and it will like 10x your food photography. It will look really, really yummy. But for today, we'll stick with the flat pan. And these are nearly done, which is great because I don't really want the smoke alarm to go off again. I mean, like, I don't want the smoke alarm to go off for you guys, but also I've got 2 sleeping cats through there, and they don't like it either, really. So if you guys have any questions at the moment, just let me know. Shout out. Thank you for joining me. If you come up with any questions later on, you know, then you can always message me and I'll try and answer them in the next cook along or the next live recipe, or I might even do a video just for you, just to answer your questions and to share it, because other people probably have the same question as well. This is nearly done, nearly. One question that I did have a couple of days ago from one of the guys from Bosch was, what is my favourite ingredient at the moment? So my favourite ingredient at the moment is black rice polenta. Polenta, if you know polenta, it's really lovely, it's real comfort food, but the thing is it's made with corn, which isn't that healthy. But black rice polenta is really healthy, like superly healthy. In fact, in ancient China, it was called forbidden rice because only the emperor was allowed to have it, because it was super healthy, so it was safe for him, and all of us paupers weren't allowed to have it. But now we can have it. So black rice polenta, find some. So get rid of those. And these are done. So let me just pop all of these into this nice big bowl. Now with a cast iron pan, it will retain heat, which means that even though you might turn the gas off, you might turn the heat off, it will still be really warm and it will keep cooking, which is great for keeping food warm if you want to keep going back to seconds or thirds or fourths, which is what I do a lot. Or if you want to present it on the table, then it will keep it warm then. And also, like, it is actually quite pretty thing. It's got this rustic charm to it. So presenting a dish in it on a table, on your dinner table would be lovely. You just really need to remember to put something heat-proof underneath it. Otherwise, you will wreck your table pretty much. So you have been warned. You have been warned. But somebody the other day was asking me for Christmas recipes. I know, people, like, magazines are already thinking of Christmas already, so we have to go there, unfortunately. And I would love to do something in this pan that you could serve as a centerpiece on your Christmas table. They would just be really lovely and beautiful, and loads of brightly coloured, yummy vegetables in it. Okay, so I've got all my bits and pieces in my bowl. We're not going to need to fry this just for the moment, so I'll stick it over there. So, nice high-sided bowl. Oh, hello Tom, thank you for recommending me to Michelle. Nice high-sided bowl. And we are going to add a few ingredients to this. So first of all, we have in here 1 tablespoon of yeast extract, also known as Marmite or Vegemite, this type of thing. So not to be confused with nutritional yeast, which is something completely different. Yeast extract. So I use one by, oh, what's the company? I'm going to have to show you now. Meridian, yeah, Meridian. How could I forget Meridian? I eat like tons of their peanut butter every day. Meridian. So, yeast extract. So this is a great thing to add to anything that you want to make taste meaty. So sausages, burgers, chili, all of that type of stuff. It's great. Having this on toast is like the devil's food. It is the most disgusting thing in the world. So I don't recommend that. And if you do like Marmite in toast, then please, I like your mental, can we please section you or something? I just think it's the most hideous thing in the world. But it's a really key ingredient in vegan food. So it can survive in the world just because of that. So we'll pop that into there. It's super sticky, so bear with. Right, there we go. That can go there. So you don't need loads, because remember, it's really salty. Has a really punchy flavour, so you don't want to have burgers that literally just taste of Marmite. Like, that would be gross. You just want it to increase that kind of meaty flavour, but not so that it's really overpowering. So we're going to add about 1/4 teaspoon to 1/2 teaspoon of salt. 2 tablespoons of stock powder. So I like using stock powder, which is from Marigold. And the reason why I prefer using stock powder rather than those little cubes is that because when I use the little cubes, I would end up with this little tiny half a cube that you would squish the foil around and it would end up in the back of the cupboard, and you know, it was just a bit messy. Whereas with this, you can just measure out exactly how much you need. And also some of those other cubes that you get, and I will not mention the name of the brand, but you probably know the one I'm on about. You put it into a wet dish, like a soup or a stew or something like that, and it doesn't fall apart. It doesn't fall apart. Like, what the hell? Like, that's its main purpose, is to fall apart, and it doesn't do it. So maybe you should go back to the drawing board with that. You have to kind of like mush it on the side of the pan, and then eventually it falls apart. But anyway, I digress. 2 tablespoons of stock powder into there. Okay, now this is an optional ingredient. Which means that you don't have to use it. It is oh, hello Ian, thank you for joining us. Which means that you don't have to use it. The burgers are really nice on their own without it, but it is super duper ingredient. Yeah, I said that twice. And it is liquid smoke. So it looks like tamari, if you can see that. I buy it from Waitrose, and it is either next to the meat counter, which is obviously a pretty horrible place to go, or you can also find it in the section where they have the sauces and stuff like that. Because this make, which is Stubbs, they also have some sauces and that type of thing, but this is liquid smoke. It's really yummy, and in fact recently I added this to a chocolate ice cream, which sounds mental, I know, but some of my food is a little bit mental. I have to like get a bit creative, otherwise I'll just die of boredom. Okay, so we've got all of that in there. I am now going to blend it with my trusty hand blender. I use these things all the time, really cheap. I think this one was about 23 quid, got it from Argos. And what else to say about it? Yes, if you are going to buy one, make sure it is over 500 watts. That's my top tip. And let's get going with this. Try not to splash any of it on my face. Or my dress. I probably should have worn something a bit darker. Or an apron maybe. That was an idea. Okay, so you can see with that, I hope, that I'm moving it around. And the reason why is just because otherwise you're not going to get all of those little bits in there. So I'm just going to pop this over the side here so that I keep my dignity. Okay. Right, there we go. So we have a lovely like brown mess. Which I promise you will get more appealing as time goes on. So this is sometimes the consistency that you get with a vegan burger recipe, which is why it ends up being a floppy disappointment. But we are going to make it have a lot more firmness by adding 1 cup of ground flour. Yeah, I know, pretty standard, you know, gluten-free flour to use. And 1 cup of gluten-free porridge oats. Not so standard. So pop those in and mix them well, and that's all of the ingredients. So the porridge oats just give it that firmness that we need from a burger, because you know when you put it into a patty, you want it to above tomato sauce. What was that? I don't know what that's in relation to. Oh, sorry, you'll have to let me in on that one. I may have forgotten already. I have no memory. Yeah, the porridge oats just give it that, give it more body, which is what you want, because you know when it's in a burger, you don't want to bite into the burger and literally the burger patty itself just like goes like shoots out the sides. That's not what we want. You know, we don't want it just to become mush. We want it to like really hold together and have more kind of like body. So Right, there we go, mixed in. All we need to do with that is just leave it to one side. That's where the liquid smoke is in much. Oh, yeah! Thank God somebody has switched on today. Yes, it's next to the tomato ketchup, etc, in Waitrose. So I'm just going to put that to one side. I'm going to leave it just to cool down a bit. I do advise, if you have time and you are not doing this on Facebook Live, to leave it to rest for about 30 minutes. You could even make it in advance. You can make it a day in advance, and just pop it into your fridge. So we'll pop this to one side, and I will get out my baking paper. So what we're going to do now is to make really nice, that was noisy, to make really nice, properly like round patties. We're going to put the mixture between 2 pieces of a baking paper. So you don't need to necessarily cut 2 pieces, you can just have like one big piece and then just fold it over. That's absolutely fine. Now you can shape the patties with your hands, and that gives it a homemade look, which is absolutely fine. If you want to keep to more of a shape, then you can use a cookie cutter, which is bizarrely a word that or a phrase that I seem to have trouble saying. Cookie cutter. Oh, there you go, I can say it. Right, so we're going to use this one for the burgers. That one, that size. And then what we'll do is we will be stuffing these with vegan cheese. Yeah, you heard me right, we'll be stuffing them with vegan cheese. So here is my vegan cheese. So these are Bio Life slices that I just bought from Waitrose probably. I promise you I'm not that posh. I'm not posh at all. I shouldn't be shopping at Waitrose. Anyway, so what I've done is I've taken the ring that is the next one down from this, which is here. See, this one. So this is your burger one, this is your cheese one. And then I've literally just popped that on there, and it cuts out really, really easily. So then we're left with these things that look a little bit odd. But the reason why we're putting it inside is because, well, it is a really nice surprise when you bite into it. And then you get the vegan cheese in the middle, but also some of these slices, when you put them on top, they don't really melt very well, or they go a bit dry and they don't look very appealing. But by putting them in the burger, then that heat and the moisture makes it melt, which is fantastic, which is what we want. Okay, so we are ready. Love violet. Me too. Gosh, how do we exist without people like businesses like BioLife? I mean, like they're amazing. They are really amazing. Because there's so many people out there who feel that they can't be vegan if they don't have cheese. So let's take our mixture and pop it onto the paper, and I can already see that this does need a bit more of a rest, so you're going to have to bear with me because it is going to be a little bit not as stiff as I would like it to be. So you pop that piece of paper over there like that, and you can just flatten it down with your hand if you don't have a rolling implement, or you can use a rolling pin. So we're going to make 3 burgers in total, so that means that we need 6 pieces. So we need to get them quite nice and thin, because if you think, we're going to be doubling that up. So if we're doubling it up, then if the single patty is quite thick, you're going to end up with a really huge burger, which, to be fair, isn't the worst problem to have, but we want to try and get 3 whole burgers out of this stuff. So when I did this recipe at Veg Fest in Bristol, and Ian was there, so thank you, Ian, for coming and joining me with that. I did really, really tiny ones. So if you want to check those out, have a look at my page because we took some really nice photos of them, and that's a really nice idea for like a little party or a kids party especially, although it might get a little bit messy. But no, it'll be fine. It'll be fine, I promise. Like kids parties get messy anyway, right? But it'll be really nice to make for a party. So I'm going to stamp out all of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we will have a little bit left over. You can do whatever you want with that. And let's just get the pan back on the heat. And then as soon as we're ready with burgers, we're gonna get them frying. I'm gonna just put a little bit of oil on there. So, I get my little flipper, pop it underneath the burger, and yeah, they are a bit more squishy than if I had let the mix rest, but that's okay because it's very moldable. Which is another word that I struggle saying. So I've got 1/2 a patty here. I'm going to add my cheese there. So you'll see that the size makes sense now. You want this edge because you want that to seal that around it. And now we'll just get the other patty and pop it on there. I don't know why I insist on doing recipes where I have to use words that I can't say. I mean, like, there aren't that many that I can't say. I think there's 2, and it's cookie cutter, which I just have to say really slowly, and moldable. See, I actually can't say it. What words do you struggle saying? If you could let me know. Just to like make me feel better about not being able to say them. Okay, right. This one is ready, so I'm going to pop it on there. Now with this mixture, because it's got gram flour in it, it has a certain gram flour taste. And if you've ever done any baking or made anything with gram flour, I think you'll know what I mean. So if you taste the batter before you cook it, there's a very distinct flavour, which when it's that strong isn't that pleasant, but as you cook it, that flavour cooks out. So it isn't like uber disgusting, it's just very distinctive, and it can take over the other flavours in the dish. So we want to cook that out. So with these babies, what you can do is you can just cook them for maybe 10 minutes on a low heat, something like that, just to make sure that you've got rid of that gram flour flavour. Or what you can do is you can quickly pan fry them and then you can pop them into the oven. Oh, hello Susie, thank you for joining me. Do you pop in with any questions? Or you can also apparently tell me which words you have trouble saying, which is not food related at all, but you know, it was just something that I was chatting about. So a little bit off topic, I know. Okay, so we've got our last one. This would be a really nice recipe to make with kids as well. Like, I've always found that when you make food with kids, they're so much happier to eat it. They're so proud of it as well. They're so proud. Because with a recipe like this, because they're getting their hands dirty, they'd absolutely love it. They'd really, really love it. I mean, like, look at how dirty my hands are. I'm actually going to have to go and wash these in a second. So that's my third patty. There we go. So if you rest the dough, the burger mixture, then this will be a lot easier to manoeuvre because it just won't be as sticky. There we go. Get this out the way. And I'm just going to quickly wash my hands. Okay, so I've whacked the heat up, and we can flip these over in a minute, I reckon. How's that one doing? Yeah. See, they cook really, really quickly, and I didn't even have that on high for most of the time. And the great thing about this mixture is that the colour's right as well. So it's got that like dark brown colour. If you guys can see it from over there. I'll bring one closer in a minute when it's cooked a little bit more. It's got that dark brown colour, which it looks like a burger. It looks yummy. And you know, a lot of how we enjoy food is based on how we view it when we look at it and what it reminds us of as well, you know, the burgers that we had as kids and that type of thing. And that's why meat substitutes, they are a really great thing, and they help so many people become vegan and stay vegan, which is fantastic. We just need to make them a little bit healthier, please. So these are almost done. So as I said, like, you can keep it, the first bite is with the eye. Oh, I like that, thank you. You can tell we've got a doctor in the house when he comes out with stuff like that. So I'm going to top my burgers with my favourite bits and pieces, which is classic and some jalapenos and this delightful ingredient, which is habanero Tabasco. It is the most amazing thing. So as you can see, I like it a bit hot. Let's see if I can get these over to you guys so you can have a look. See how they've come up. Oh! See, I'm not really a junk food person, but these are really yummy. Look at that. Oh, yeah, really nice. So as I say, like, they've got that really lovely colour, and they're really solid. So you guys can put them on your barbecues, you know, on your vegan barbecue, you know, like the little one that you get, the disposable one that's away from the main barbecue where they put all the meat and crap. So, oh, that was a good sound. Okay, mustard, lots of that, habanero ketchup, yum, and a few of these. So the recipe for this is on my website if you prefer the written one, and also I've done the quick video, so you have absolutely no excuse not to make it. I'll put a link to the pans in the comments as well, so check out those guys. The pans are just really, really phenomenal, and I'm loving cooking with them. It's a real like foodie item, so if you are into cooking, I recommend it completely. So here is my burger. I hope I'm not going to get this down me. Oh. That's really yummy. Really yummy. Right. I hope that you have enjoyed watching this. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. Let me know how you get on if you try the burgers or if you try any of my other recipes. They're all quick, easy, and relatively cheap to make. So, and also let me know if you've got any questions or anything that you would like to see me make live on Facebook. So have a lovely Friday evening and a lovely weekend, guys.